broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Jesse. I'm the marketing director at Fay Business Systems Group. You are on live with our webinar today with Tiffany Campbell, and we also have Annette Knight, who is on board as well from Beanworks. They're going to be presenting Sage AP automation, talking us through the benefits of Sage AP automation. So we're really excited to have them here with us today, and you as well, of course. Just as a reminder, a little bit of overview, we had a lot of people register for this event that may not be aware of Fay Business Systems Group. So we're a longtime Sage partner. We've been in the space for over 20-something years. We're a master developer. We're based in Woodland Hills in Los Angeles. We have offices throughout the United States and the Midwest and the East Coast as well. And we focus on accounting and ERP and CRM solutions. So we've done tons of implementations for both ERP and CRM products. And we mainly focus on Sage 100 on the ERP side. This is just a list of some of our Sage clients that we currently work with. We've worked with a lot of these guys for a very long time, and we're proud to support them in their Sage 100 efforts. Some of our services include system design, consulting, project management. So we do it all when it comes to Sage, and we're happy to work with you if you're looking for Sage development. We've got a great team, and we love working with Sage and the Sage team. And we've also built our own set of intellectual property. We have all kinds of Sage 100 products and add-ons that we've built. We're also known in the Sugar CRM community for our Sage 100 integration that we built for Sugar, which gives you a true cloud-based CRM platform integration for Sage 100, which is a little bit different than the Sage CRM product. So thanks again for listening to my little speech. I'll be monitoring the chat box. So if you have any questions for Tiffany, who's going to be taking us through our presentation, put them in the chat box, and she will, and I will get those over to her, and I'll monitor those as we go. And no question is a silly question, so we welcome anything you guys have. So thanks again for joining us, and Tiffany, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Perfect. Jesse, can you see my screen that says Sage AP Automation and my name?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, well, as Jesse mentioned, my name is Tiffany Campbell. I am the VP of Channel Revenue here at Beanworks. With me on the line, I also have Annette Knight, who is one of our channel managers. Today, what we're going to be doing is talking about AP automation. So Sage does a survey every year of their install base, and over the last couple of years, the #1 user requested add-on was automating accounts payable. So as you guys know, the ERP, so most of you are probably using Sage 100, the ERP is awesome. It helps automate so many different aspects of your company, but when it comes to accounts payable, it is still very manual. So that's where we came in. So I'm going to back up here one more slide. So what Sage decided to do was add AP automation to their portfolio. So they decided to partner with Beanworks and create the solution that I'll be presenting today, which is AP automation. So to give you a little background of who Beanworks is, we are a company that started in 2010. We're out of Vancouver, Canada, and we've grown substantially. We have over 6,000 users on the platform right now, over 700 companies using the platform. We are in Canada and the United States and the UK. So we have an office in Arizona and Salt Lake City in the US. So when Sage decided to create this accounts payable automation solution, they wanted to eliminate all of those repetitive tasks that are done right now within accounts payable. They also wanted to provide real-time financial data and then offer a PO to payment solution, because they found out a lot of their customers were going out and looking for a PO module. They were looking for an invoice module, and then they were looking for a payments module. So they decided to consolidate all of those into one solution, which is Sage AP Automation. So before I jump into the product, I want to talk about the partnership with Sage. So because Sage decided they wanted to put this in their portfolio and put it in their price book, they wanted to make it very easy for their install base to add it on. So by doing that, they decided, you know what, we want to eliminate any implementation, installation, and training fees. If a customer says they want it, we want to just give it to them. So that's exactly what they're doing here. So it's almost like Sage is saying, you know what, here's a car, and all you have to do is pay for the gas. Same kind of idea. They're saying, here's the service, all you have to do is pay for the invoices that are processed through the system. So in regards to the car, it doesn't matter how many drivers there are. Same with the product. It doesn't matter how many users there are. There can be, 2 people in AP and maybe 50 approvers. There could be, 100 people in AP and another couple hundred approvers. Regardless, it's one flat, well, it's actually not one flat fee. It's just pay as you go. So if after today's presentation, you love what we're showing you, you can call Jessie up or call Annette up, because Annette is your channel manager. You can call them up and say, yes, we'd like to get started. It's truly a $0 order with Sage. And then what will happen is next month, you'll be billed for the number of invoices that were processed this month. So you just pay as you go. We do ask that you give us at least 30 days if you decide to cancel. That rarely happens. It's very rare that someone automates a process and then decides to step back and go back to doing it manually. So once you start using it, people pretty much get addicted, and then they keep going from there. In regards to the implementation, onboarding itself is very quick. Because we've already created this partnership with Sage, the integration already exists. So for us to get it up and running and implemented, truly it can happen within 24 hours. We ask, just to be realistic, for about 2 to 3 weeks. And the reason we ask is, you'll see as we're showing you the product today, it is extremely powerful. Our workflow configurator is very flexible, very scalable. So we want to really sit down with you and define what is your process within accounts payable. How many workflows do you have? What are the exceptions? And then we want to even automate those exceptions. So because of that, we asked you give us a little bit more time, because I think everybody thinks they know their process until it comes time to actually sitting down, identifying it, and then automating it. So it usually takes a little bit longer. More people are involved than they typically think. So the 2 to 4 weeks is very realistic. So instead of showing you screenshots of what the product can do, I'm actually going to jump into the product today and show you how the solution works. So give me one moment here. I'm going to jump in to Sage APA. Now, I mentioned there's unlimited seats, but not everybody in your company is going to have the same access. So when you log in, you'll have your username and password. And then depending upon the security that your company is set up, you'll see certain things within the application. So I'm logging in. It's going to default to my dashboard. So we talked about Sage wanting to give you reporting capabilities and a quick overview of what's happening within accounts payable. This is where you're going to see that. Your dashboard is going to show you all of the invoices that are being processed through the system, how long it's taking to process them, who's approving them, who's rejecting them. If it's stuck somewhere, you're able to see that. Then you can figure out what you want to do about that. Our system does allow you to connect to multiple companies. So if you're using Sage 100 and you have 2 or 3 companies set up, no additional cost. We can set up all of those companies within our system. You can click right here on legal entity and select the company that you want to be able to view, or you can select them all. We also allow you to select to multiple accounting systems. So let's say you acquire another company and it's using maybe Sage 300 or Sage 50 or 500, whatever it may be. All of those can connect to one single system. So you can log in and see the different accounting systems, select the accounting system you want to use, and view all of it at one time. Same thing with date range. You can go and say, you know what, I only want to pick up or pull up information for a particular date range. You can do that, and you can generate a CSV file, export it out. This comes in handy when audits are occurring. Some people like to go in and pull up all the information, export it out, and provide it to the auditor. We have other people who say, you know what, we're just going to give our auditor access to the solution so they can go in and look at anything that they want to. Maybe you set up their security so they can only see things for a certain time period. You have the ability to do that when you create the user and then by allowing them to view the dashboard. Now, over to the left, we have 3 different modules that I want to talk about here. Let me enlarge my screen a little more. So over here to the left, we have 3 modules. We have the purchase order, invoices, and payments. So I talked about Sage wanting to consolidate all of the AP actions into one system. That's exactly what we're doing here. So to the left, we have purchase orders. We've color-coded these tools because they all have very similar functionality and a very similar look and feel too. So whenever I'm doing demos, because I do demos all day, I have to really look at the color and make sure I'm in the right module over here. So our purchase orders are orange, invoices are green, and our payments are blue. So all 3 modules have the ability to create workflows and search capabilities as well. So anything we're tracking within the system, you have the ability to search off of it. So if you wanted to pull up a particular invoice, you can search for that invoice, and it'll show you all the documents that are associated to that and all of the audit trail of everything that's happened with that invoice and with any documents associated to it. Now, workflow, you can have workflows for purchase orders, you can have workflows for invoices, and workflows for payments. And they can be interconnected or they can be completely separate. So with purchase orders, you have the ability to, if you right now are using Sage 100 and you're using the PO module within it, perfect. We can take those POs and import them into our system, and they'll come in as committed. All of those POs will be right here. You have the ability over here to the far right to click on View Detail, View Image, and then we'll go into these other icons in a moment. But the View Image, if you click on it, it's going to show you the PO that was created inside of Sage 100. You're able to view it from right here. If you click on View Detail, this gives you more granular information. It's going to show you the image itself over here, how the image was brought and indexed into our system, if it did go on to any type of workflow, what's the approval history of it. All of that information is being displayed here for you. This is also where you can add supplemental documents. So if you wanted to attach a drawing or anything to the PO, you have the ability to click on Add Pages and Add Backup. So anytime you open up that PO, you're able to view it right here. Now, that's if you're using the PO module inside of Sage 100. We talked to a lot of customers who aren't, and that's fine. You can start, or you can start using the PO module within Sage APA. Very similar. You can go in here, click Create your purchase order from within the system. That PO then will go on to a workflow. And when you click on In Progress, it's going to show you that PO and where it's at. So when you log in, if you have access, you'll be able to see all the POs that are in progress right now. So they have been created in our system and are in some type of workflow. So again, same similar features. You can view detail and then view image of the PO that was created in here. Now, if I were an approver, I would log in, and when I click on approvals, I'm going to only see the POs that I have to approve. I can go in here and click on Select All and choose Actions and approve them all at one time or reject them all at one time. Or I can go into them individually. So I can go in and click on View Details. I can look at the information about the PO and then go down here and say approve or reject. If I approve it, I can put notes in Y. If I reject, I definitely have to put notes in Y. And then depending upon the workflow that you create, it'll go to the next step within the process. So that's an overview of our PO module. Down here below is our invoice module. So I can click on invoices, same thing. So I can click on In Progress, and it'll show me all of the invoices that were uploaded into the system. So you might be thinking, okay, well, how are my invoices getting into the system? When we do the implementation, we're going to sit down with you. We're going to figure out, okay, where are your invoices coming from? Are they being mailed in? Are they emailed in? Are they scanned in, faxed in, whatever it may be? We're going to figure that out, and then we're going to set up a system to bring them in the most efficient way possible. Typically, we'll set up email addresses for your vendors where that will be uploaded or emailed directly into our system. When those invoices come in, we're going to bring in the image. So if you click on View Image, it'll show you the invoice. To the left of it, again, same thing, where you click on View Details, it's going to show you the image. And then over here to the left, how we index that information when we brought that invoice into the system. So we use, as a company, a combination of technology to bring in your invoices, and then also human intervention. So we have that human intervention component because our company is founded by accountants. So our CEO is an accountant. When she works with other accountants to create this solution, one thing that she wanted and was dead set on was a 99.9% accuracy when bringing in the invoices. So the only way we can give that 99.9% accuracy is if there's a human intervention or human component at this time. That is not a resource on your end. It is resources on our end. So we handle that when invoices are brought into the system. If technology alone can't index it, we have a team that does that for you. And the reason we do that is, as I mentioned, that 99.9. But there's right now technology, even with OCR, the guarantee rate is between 60 and 70%. 60, I think now it goes up to about 75%. Again, that doesn't cover the 99.9 that she wanted. So it is on our roadmap to do AI. So eventually we'll get there, but until technology can guarantee that 99.9, we'll always have that human component. Again, here on the screen, same as when you're on the view detail in the PO, you have the ability to add those supplemental documents. So I can click on Add Pages and add the backup or additional information. So if I wanted to put in a packing slip, a receipt, a drawing, whatever it may be, I can add those to the system. One thing I do want to mention over here to our right, we have smart coding capabilities. So when this is brought into the system, you can go ahead and when it comes time to do the coding, it'll be coded. And if you say, okay, you know what, I want to smart code this. So next time I get this type of invoice in from this vendor, it's automatically coded this way. You can do that. So the coding will get smarter over time as long as you're hitting that smart code functionality or that smart code feature. So that's the In Progress tab. Approval tab works very similar as what we saw in the purchase order. So you can click on Approvals, and over to the right, it's going to show you everything that you have to approve. So again, depending on your security, you're going to see what you have access to. So I can, right here, it's just one, but if there were multiple, I could say select all, go up here to my right, approve them all at one time, or I can go into it individually and approve or reject. Now, one thing I do want to point out on the Approvals tab is over here to the right. You saw it in the Approvals tab in the POs as well. There's a little thumbs up. The thumbs up lets us know that this invoice or that PO or that payment, whatever it may be, there's a thumbs up next to it. It means that it's part of an approval process, where more than likely there's more than one person who has to approve this within the workflow that you create. So the beginning of the presentation, I talked about, giving us time, that 2 to 3 weeks to really sit down and figure out what your workflow is. At that time, we'll define, okay, if this invoice comes in, what are the approval channels? Does it go to 2 people? Does it go to 1 person? Once it goes to that 1 person, what's the next step? So you're able to see that when you click on the little thumbs up. So we talk to people and, their business rule might say, if an invoice comes in, if it's over $25,000, automatically route it to the CFO. We have that capability. So as long as you're bringing in an invoice, the information on that invoice is indexed into our system, we can create any business rule based off of the data that's being brought into the system. One thing I also want to make a note of is that we are using the same tables as what's in Sage. So vendor table, product table, all of that is coming from Sage. So it's a bi-directional integration. So if you make a change here, it'll be reflected inside of Sage as well. If you have reports that you're running within Sage right now, you'll still be able to use those reports because the information is shared tables, shared lists, shared fields. So over here to the right, my little thumbs up, this lets me know that there's multiple people that have to approve this. One thing you might be saying right now is, okay, this is great. I love that POs, invoices, and payments all work, but what if we don't use POs? That is fine. If your business rule, if you guys don't use POs right now internally and you're not going to, or you don't plan on doing it for months down the road, that's fine. You don't have to use all 3 modules. We encourage it because all 3 modules come with the product, no additional cost. But if you're not using POs, we just turn off that functionality. So if your business rule says, if it's over $25,000, go ahead, automatically route it to CFO. She approves it. It then goes to payments. But if you do use POs, maybe your business rule says if an invoice comes in, if it matches with the PO, then I want to automatically associate the 2. And then if it matches, take it to payments. If it doesn't match, then it has to go to a particular person for approval. You get to decide that. So we set that up within the system for you. One thing I do want to point out, and unfortunately, let's see here, do I have some? Oh, I do, good. One other little icon that I want to point out is the view matches. So I talked about that last rule, that if an invoice comes in, if there's a PO that matches, we want it to match, and then it goes to the next step in the process. Well, I want to be able to view that match as well. Not only do I want to know that it did match, but I want to see it. So if I click on the little link here, it's going to show me that this invoice matched a PO that existed in the system. Now, there could be a PO that could be associated to multiple invoices. So you can say, okay, that PO is for $1,200. This is only for $540. So after that, this is what's left on that PO. All of that information is here for you to be able to view, and you can actually click on View Purchase Order and view the PO from here. So we give you that capability as well. So that is, again, a quick overview of the Invoice module. That then takes us to our Payments module. So in our system, very similar to what we just saw, you can see all the payments that are in progress, all the payments that have to be approved by you as the user who's logged in. Then once payments are released, it'll go to released, and then it'll go to paid. So I can see all of the steps. Unfortunately, this is a demo database, and everybody loves to make payments when they're doing a demo because it's probably the coolest feature. So I don't really have a lot of data in here. But again, very similar to what we just saw, you have your in progress, your approvals, your released, and your paid. All of this information is then reflected inside of Sage. We get a lot of questions saying, I have reports that my partner put together for me that I run in Sage that shows me paid and released. You can still run them. But this is very nice. This gives you the capability to see where an invoice is at, or, if they say, yeah, we paid it, and then you get the vendor calling you saying, I haven't received payment yet. I can go in here and pull up that vendor up here at the top. I can do a global search by a particular vendor. And then I can go to see, okay, well, you're right. It hasn't been paid. It's released and it should be paid. It usually takes 48 hours and then it'll be paid. So you don't have to call AP or an AP clerk and find out and have them, stock or find out what's happening with it. You can do all the stocking yourself. You can open it up, look up that vendor, as I mentioned. And I personally do this all the time. So I'll have a vendor, I'll order something. The vendor calls and says, hey, is this paid yet? I just do a global search on it, go down, see that it's been released, and then I'll tell them, okay, well, based off of your payment type, it's going to take this long before it moves over to paid. So in a moment, I'll get to our different kind of payment methods as well. But I did want to show you the look and feel of the solution because I think it's very user-friendly. I actually worked for one of our competitors and was at a user conference and was fortunate enough to be invited to go to a dinner that our CEO, Catherine Dahl, sat across from me on. So the two of us didn't know we were competitors at the time. We start talking about AP automation and we find ourselves saying the same things. So we're kind of finishing each other's sentence and she asked, oh, where do you work? And I asked, where does she work? We found out. So the next day I thought, you know what, I want to check out our product. We were saying our products did the same thing. I want to see what this product looks like. I walked into her presentation and I would say one of the biggest differences was this look and feel. So I think this is a great selling point. It's one of the reasons I definitely migrated over. I mean, I loved her as a CEO, I loved the company, but I think the look and feel and the ease of use and the way it's easy to get up and running. Again, there's no implementation installation cost, and I think a lot of customers get held up on that. So it makes it very easy to get people on board. So the look and feel was definitely one of the reasons I migrated over to Beanworks. So I'm gonna jump back over, oops, wrong deck here. Jump back over to the slide deck, and I'm going to talk about what are some next steps for you. So today I gave you a very high-level overview of what the product can do for you. After today's call, Jesse and Annette are going to provide to you the slide deck. The slide deck is interactive, so everything I'm going to click on here or show you, you'll have access to. But we do have a more granular video that we've put together that we've released. It's on our YouTube site, so you could just go in to YouTube, type in Sage APA, and you'll see these videos, or you can go to the deck that we provide and click on the link. This, if you click on it, it'll open up the video, and we kind of go through each of the modules in a little bit more detail than what I was able to do today for time reasons. Now, if there are people on your team that weren't able to attend today's webinar, we do have a webinar that we host every single week, Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. Now, this demo is geared for people who are interested in purchasing, so it is a very interactive demo. So we try to limit it to about 4 to 5 companies, because we do encourage a lot of questions and a lot of business rules. So someone might come in and say, okay, what's the best practice for this? Or we handle it this way, how are other companies handling it? So we try to make them as interactive as possible. We encourage, you know, even if you had additional questions, maybe you see today's presentation, walk away, kind of process it, jot down a couple more questions, feel free to attend the webinar tomorrow. Again, it's every single Thursday. You can click on this link right here. This goes back to the interactive portion of it. It's going to take you to all of our webinars. They're hosted by one of our channel managers and an account executive. You just click on register and sign up from it, or sign up for it right here. So you're probably thinking, okay, you keep saying it's free, it's free, it's free. Well, you do have to pay for the invoices. So now I'm going to talk about pricing. So pricing, I promise you there is a cost here. Yeah. So pricing, Sage decided that they needed to figure out how much does an invoice cost right now, because we don't want to charge that implementation, installation, and training fee. We're only going to charge per invoice. But what are customers doing right now, and how much are they spending right now per invoice? So they worked with us, and we did this on our own as well. So Beanworks kind of had the same methodology when coming up with the Beanworks pricing. They sat down and researched it on their end and found out that this is your typical AP workflow from POs all the way from payments. Now, if you drill down to it, each of these steps has a dollar amount associated to it. So if you add each of these dollars amounts together, it comes to about like 20-something dollars. Not everybody is doing every single one of these steps. So on average, an AP team is typically spending between $10 to $13 per invoice. So Sage wanted to make it more cost effective for their clients. So they decided, you know what we're going to do is we're going to charge per invoice. We want to do it a lot less than that $10 to $13. So they decided to put it into 3 different buckets. And I'll kind of touch on that larger bucket in a moment here. So to start off, if you're doing under 250 invoices, $0 to get started, and then you'll just pay per invoice every single month. So if you're doing under 250 that month, you're going to pay $1.60 an invoice. But say the next month you creep up to 500. Well, then you're going to move down to $1.50. So anywhere between 250 and 500 is $1.50 an invoice. Once you go over 500, it's $1.40. Now, we have had a lot of customers who do much more than 500. So if you're doing over 1,500 invoices per month, please let Fay Business Systems know. They will inform Annette, and we will get Sage involved. We do have enterprise pricing for our large customers. So we want to make it, again, cost effective for everybody using it. And if you're doing 10,000 invoices a month, $1.40 really doesn't cut it. So we've negotiated pricing, enterprise pricing for customers who are doing over 1,500 invoices. If you are, let Annette know. She'll negotiate the price for you, and we'll set that up. So you're also probably looking at this first bucket here where it says setup fees. We do exist outside of the Sage world. So we integrate with Microsoft, we integrate with just a bunch of other ERPs. Outside of the Sage world, there is a setup fee, and the starting setup fee is $3,000. It can go much higher. For Sage, they have waived that setup fee, as I mentioned earlier, so it's $0 for setup. So if you're using any of these products, $0 to get started. I do want to mention this little caveat at the bottom here where it says a minimum monthly charge of $32 will be billed for 20 invoices and under. Now, that makes sense. If you're doing under 20 invoices, you'll just be billed every month $32. But let's say you buy the product today and it takes you 2 or 3 months to start using the product, you'll get a bill for $32. So it's a minimum of $32 once you sign up and go live with our product. So once you go live, you'll spend $32 even if you're not processing anything through the system. But we also do it, it's a nominal fee just to remind you, hey, you have this product, start using it. Because we do get customers who love it, they're gung-ho, and then all of a sudden they start buying other solutions and this goes on the back burner. And we just, if you're charging them $32, they realize, oh, okay, I should probably start using it. So that's why that fee is there. So there is a minimum fee of $32. If you're billed $32, either you're doing under 20 or you haven't started using the system yet. So just a little flag for you. Now, when I showed you the product, I showed you the 3 different modules, the PO module, the invoice module, and the payments module. The payments module, you can pay everything through our system, and we want you to. We want to automate all of that for you. But we also want to give you multiple payment methods. We have VCC, virtual credit card, EFT, ACH, automated checks, wire transfer. Really, the choice is yours. And you're not obligated to use just one payment method. You can use multiple payment methods. Not every vendor is going to want to use the same as another vendor. We, as a company, recommend virtual credit card. The reason we do is because virtual credit card is $0 to set up, and there's no transaction fee. Because as you know, each of these methods has its own transaction fee associated to it. If you use us to automate it, we've negotiated lower fees than what you're probably spending right now for your transaction fees. But again, with VCC, there is no fee. And the coolest part about it is you have the ability to earn 1% cash back with virtual credit card payments. So accounts payable is traditionally not a revenue generating department, but with VCC, you can be. So that's pretty exciting. The cool thing about it is a lot of our customers who sign up for VCC, this actually pays for the solution itself. So they'll actually make more money off of it, and it pays for the invoices that they're processing through the system. So again, it pays for the product, and then it also generates some revenue for accounts payable. Not a lot, but it does generate something. So these are, again, the different payment methods. This is your transaction fee that we've negotiated on our end. If you're already paying a lower fee than this, that's fine. You can continue to use your payment methods for those, or your setup for those payment methods. But you'll notice again with VCC, $0. So next steps. If you guys are interested in the solution, we ask that you fill out our discovery form. The discovery form, I believe, is already, or maybe some of you have filled it out. It might even be on your guys' website, but the link is right here on the slide deck that is going to be sent out. And really, it just gives us information about your company. I talked about our implementation being free. Well, when we go in to do that initial kickoff meeting, we want to know something about you, and we want to also make sure this is a good fit. We don't want to sell anyone a product that we don't think they need or that it won't work for them. So we also have you fill out an onboarding process document, and we traditionally sit down and fill that out with you. It doesn't take more than 10 minutes. Very similar questions, you know, which ERP are you using? How many invoices do you process a month? Do you use purchase orders? Will you be using payments through the system? Who are we going to be working with when we do the implementation? What's their email address? What's the contact? So it gives us all of the information we need to be able to not charge you anything and have that kickoff meeting and make it productive. Again, our goal is to have you up and running in less than 3 weeks with this onboarding process that helps us achieve that goal for you. Now, after seeing today's presentation, if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to Annette or to Jesse or anyone at Faye. We also have client testimonials out there, so if you want to see how other customers are using the system, we do have them on our YouTube site, as I mentioned earlier. Or you can just click on this link and it'll open up the video and you can see, you know, how customers are using our solution, as well as why partners and why Sage has decided to partner with our solution and how it's benefiting their install base. So you can see both of those when clicking on these links. So that's pretty much it. That was a quick overview of how the product works, our relationship with Sage, and how you can get started with it. So I know we had you guys type in questions inside of chat. So what I'll do now is ask Jesse, just kind of open it up. Let me know what questions are out there. And if you didn't get to chat them in and you want to just raise your hand, let us know. And I can answer any questions for you guys right now.
Thanks, Tiffany. Yeah, a couple of questions came in. I'll do my best to kind of translate some of these. So are transactions still stored in Sage 100 vendor files?
Oh, can you repeat that question?
It says, are transactions still stored in Sage 100 vendor files?
Yes. So it is a bi-directional integration. So everything that is being stored right now within Sage will continue to be stored inside of Sage. So even though the actions are being done within our system, the information is pushed back into Sage.
Okay, great. And then another question was, let's see, so the checks are issued from our normal AP module within Sage 100, correct? Paper checks issued?
You can continue to do paper checks inside of Sage if you want to. We offer multiple payment methods, but if you're doing checks right now and want to continue to do checks, paper checks within Sage, you have that option within our system as well.
Great. And then can you address how Sage AP connects to Sage on-premise?
Okay, so you have to be on subscription pricing with our solution. If you are not, we ask that you migrate over to it. You do not need to be on a true hosted version of Sage. You can be on-premise. Technically, it still works. A part of our agreement with Sage is that you're using subscription pricing to purchase or in order for you to purchase Sage APA. In regards to how does it integrate with on-premise, we use the SDK. So it's a software development kit. There is a sync tool. It syncs up our solution with your solution or with your on-premise version of Sage 100. So it does work. There's no limitations to that. Again, it's using the SDK and a sync tool. You can sync it as often as you want to or set it up to be synced as often as you need it to.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. That was those are all the questions for now. And like Tiffany said, if anyone has questions, definitely that come up after today's webinar, definitely reach out to me and I will get those questions answered or connect you with Tiffany or Annette to take care of those. And we will process the recording. We'll get it out to you in the next day, as well as the interactive deck. And we will look forward to hearing from you after that. So thanks again, Tiffany. Really appreciate your time. Annette, thank you so much as well. And everyone have a great rest of your day, and we will be chatting with you all soon. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.